What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Day Sniper Podcast. I am your host, Caylen Wojcik, and in this episode, we are bringing on board a guest by the name of Mr. Nate Humbard. Now, Nate is an assistant instructor for us, and he primarily helps us out in our local Yakima classes here at Modern Day Sniper. And Nate is a tremendous wealth of information and knowledge, and he really loves to engage with the students and help everybody meet their goals. And the reason that we're bringing Nate on the podcast is number one, he's been carrying a rifle ever since he was knee high to a grasshopper here in the upper Yakima Valley. And he brings a lot of experience from the standpoint of rifleman skills. And Nate is also a student of history. And we brought Nate on board this podcast to give you guys an introduction to who Nate is. And you can expect to hear a bunch more episodes coming from Nate as we dive into the history of not only snipers, but as well as just riflemanship as it relates to our American heritage. And that's one of the things that I think is really important for us to always remember is that we are a nation of riflemen, and that is how we were formed and what we are known for. We have some really cool episodes coming for you guys on the history of sniping, and we're going to start off all the way from the frontiersmen, and we're going to start picking out influential individuals in our history that have led us to be where we are today with regard to the craft of riflemanship. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. I hope you guys enjoy it, and you guys know the drill. Evolve with every shot that you take, and we'll talk to you guys at the end of the show. Brief interruption here before we get to the show. I wanted to take a minute to talk to you guys about some of our upcoming in-person classes that we've got here at Modern Day Sniper for 2025. So the first round of classes that I want to talk to you guys about, and we have a couple of slots left over, and you're going to want to make sure that if there's any training class that you want to come out to and shoot with us for a few days, take a look at our Nail Spring Ranch venue. It is truly world class with both lodging, the food that you're going to eat, as well as the ranges that we're going to shoot on. Located in Bonanza, Oregon, in the vicinity of Klamath Falls, the amount of effort that the Nail Spring Ranch has put into this place is nothing short of fantastic, and you're going to have an awesome all-inclusive experience with us down there. All of your meals and lodging is taken care of with the total cost of the course, and for what you get, you simply can't beat it from a cost standpoint. You're going to be eating five-star meals, staying in five-star accommodations, and like I said, shooting on a world-class facility in Southern Oregon, where it's going to be challenging conditions for both our introductory level students and our skills clinic students in the month of July. And then we're going to be back there in October for another intro class and then a hunting skills clinic. So that'll be a great opportunity for you guys to come out and train with us if that's kind of your jam of that all-inclusive experience. And at the end of the days, you don't have to drive anywhere. You can just wrap up your day after dinner, and everybody's just going to have a chance to have some fellowship and have some good conversations. There's all kinds of things to do at the ranch. And if you're lucky, the owner will take you up in his airplane and give you a bird's eye view of all of the local area. So we got Nail Spring Ranch. And then in November, we have our Pig River venue that we absolutely love going there. I love training at Pig River. It's a fantastic place to shoot. Josh Bandy is awesome at making sure that everybody has a great time there with his facility. So something that we're going to change up this year at Pig River, we're trying to make our classes more of an experience for our customers and our shooters. Not necessarily just your run of the mill, hey, we're going to show up and we're going to shoot and then everybody's going to go do their own thing. This year, we're going to have that event for both our intro class and our skills progression class. We're going to have that catered for both breakfast and lunch. And we're also going to have one evening of each of those classes where we're going to have dinner cooked out at the range catered as well. And it's going to be more along the lines of, fellowship and community and getting everybody together at the end of the day to talk about whatever it is they want to talk about. The catering is going to be second to none. The food that we're using is all home cooked and it's fantastic. On the plus side of that, if you are a United States Marine, we're going to be at Pig River for the United States Marine Corps 250th birthday. And that's a big deal for us. And so while we're there, we're also going to be celebrating the Marine Corps birthday, and we're going to have our traditional cake cutting ceremony and reading of General John A. Lejeune's birthday message, as well as the message from the Commandant. If you are a United States Marine and you want to come out and train with us, or you're already enrolled in the course, we're going to have those shenanigans happening for our birthday on November 10th. So we hope to see you guys down at Pig River. We got some slots left for that class as well, or those two classes. So make sure if you're on the East Coast, come see us. It's a great place to shoot, challenging venue, and it's always a good time. So the third round of classes that I want to talk to you guys about is our classes down in Arizona, in Maricopa County at the Flying Bucket with Dylan Arrow. Another fantastic place to shoot, and it's a great venue in Arizona, and Arizona is not a bad place to be in the first couple weeks of December. So if you're in the southwest of the United States and you're looking to train with Modern Day Sniper, check us out. You can find all of these classes at our website at moderndaysniper.com on the events tab, and make sure you check out what we have, because most likely we're in your area. And if you want to come shoot with us and have a good time, have at it. So without further ado, let's get back to the episode. So this guy, this is the whiskey that the boys from Florida gave us.
Yeah, that's cool.
Traveler whiskey. Apparently it's a part of Buffalo Trace.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This got a tab right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So they gave both me and Landon. Landon had a bottle and I had a bottle, and I don't drink hardly at all anymore.
Right, yeah, me neither, but every now and then.
So I was just like, man, I got to travel tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, I'd kind of like to have, I'm like, man, I can't commit to cracking a bottle just to have one little snoot, but
The boys have their own, and you guys, like, because with all of you there, you probably could have finished one off between each person.
no, it was just Landon and I.
Oh.
And I was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. All right. Well, good, buddy. Here it is. Well, this is cool. I'm really, I'm stoked for this. We've been talking about this for a long time. And I always enjoy our conversations. Every time we have a chance to just sit and bullshit, we always have some kind of cool conversation about history, current events, all that stuff. Or, we've had also a lot of conversations just about like work related stuff, and like just talking in the house earlier about the things that you learned as a young man with good mentorship in the manufacturing realm, somebody that saw something in you, that believed in your abilities and skills, and they just were like, okay, well, I'm going to empower this dude and put him, I'm going to nudge him along, right? I'm going to get him there.
Right.
You might have been sitting there going like, what the fuck is this guy want from me, right?
Oh, lots of times he made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Lots of times. But you got to have that. As a young man, you need to be put in a position where you're uncomfortable, or you're not going to grow, huh?
Oh no, man, not at all. And that's one of the things I'm trying to communicate to my son right now.
Yeah.
Is that like, you have to have these struggles, because if everything is just coming to you like this, you're not pushing hard enough, right? You're not pushing hard enough. And he's starting to get to that point where he's reaching the pinnacle of certain things, but he's not dedicating enough practice to it to push past where he's at, because he has so many things going on at once. And I remember we were talking about it, and he wanted to do all these things. And I was like, hey man, you're eventually going to have to pick. Like, you're going to have to pick, and you're going to have to start narrowing your focus down to one. If you really want to master one thing, then you really have to do that. And granted, it's like something that we always talked about in the military is like jack of all trades, master of none. Like on the recondo side of the house, like those guys have to figure out many different ways to get themselves to work, right? And those are the skills that are the jack of all trades, but they're never really truly the masters of any of them, because they have to do so many of them.
Right.
But there's certain things that they're really good at. And I'm just trying to communicate that to Luke. So,
right.
Yeah, I think he's picking up on it, because he's seeing it like tangibly. He's like, oh, this makes me feel uncomfortable that I can't push past this.
Right.
It's like, well, you might want to look at this right over here. It's kind of like that discovery learning.
You're not going to get good at anything without going through lots of phases of discomfort. even if you get to a specialty, in that specialty, you're going to go through numerous phases of development, and the entrance to that development is being uncomfortable.
Yep.
And one thing I think is helpful for young people, and I don't think that I necessarily did this, is having good self awareness early. My father, I think, did a good job of that. He's very intelligent, but he was smarter than he had better self knowledge early, and knew what his foibles and weaknesses possibly were.
Dude, that is so huge, man. Like, I'm glad you're bringing this up. It's huge.
And he negotiated his early, when you're young, you're making big decisions. And he made some fundamental decisions early in his career, knowing that if he didn't, he was going to put himself in a position to struggle possibly.
Hmm.
And I didn't seem to have that awareness that early, and so I dove into some things that I certainly was good at, but I didn't recognize the environments I could possibly be in doing that job would possibly be not helpful for my personality. And of course, you're going to learn eventually. The
Yep.
world's going to kick you right in the balls,
Yes,
and
it
you're going
will.
to find out. But ideally, it's gonna be painful if you do it that way. Versus, and it may be too fucking late.
Right.
A lot of times knowledge comes to you, doesn't matter. I mean, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, Nate, you were right. Hey, fuck you. Doesn't matter now. We lost our window to seize the moment we had.
Right.
You've got to know in time. It's not good enough to know. You got to know in time." Yeah,
Timing is everything. And
yeah,
it's just, and you're never going to figure that out. The only way that you're going to figure that out is just through life experience. At the end of the day, there's no, you can just like, it's the awareness piece, right? It's coming to
yeah.
a higher level of awareness of self more quickly in life. So that way you have the ability to kind of pick up on things.
You can say, "Hey, put me on this trail because I can see the end of it, and I know my temperament personality will be healthy and strong in that environment." Versus, "Hey, I may be good at this trail over here, but I can look down there and see, hey, that environment may not be necessarily conducive to my personality and health."
Hmm.
Right. And I think it's pretty rare. My dad's one of the few people I've seen that's had that ability. I think it's common for young men just to find something that they're interested in or good at and to go.
Hmm.
And that's a lot better than not, right? I
Indeed.
certainly would tell a young man to go no matter what. You've got to go because time is short.
That's that hero's journey,
Yeah.
that Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. That it's so interesting. 'Cause we did that hero's journey in 2023 for the Rifleman network. And we just picked apart, we broke it up into 12 equal or 12 parts. And ironically, it was very easy to break it up in 12
Yeah.
equal parts, as per Joseph Campbell's discovery of it or his interpretation of it.
Right, right.
And man, it was really telling. But at the same time, it's very easy to slip out of that awareness, because if you get taken too far out of your comfort zone and you get faced with things that are, really, really intense,
You
it
get
can,
crushed
you get crushed.
and then you're done.
Yeah. And then the information, but it isn't yet
That's why you need the mentor.
subconscious.
That's why you need the mentor
Yeah.
because he can judge. And if he sees you getting ready to be crushed, he can step in and give you an assist,
Yep.
pump some air. The guy I'm talking about used to
Yeah.
call it pumping wind into India.
Uh-huh.
He'd
Okay.
pump some wind into you because you'd fucked up or got in over your head or thought that more cases than not, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was.
Right.
But because of your youth and experience, you thought, oh, hey, I've irreparably fucked up.
Hmm.
And then he can come along and say, actually, this is normal, son. This isn't beyond repair.
Hmm.
Watch how I do this. And then he could put things back right, give you an ass pat. And then the next time you're faced with that, you'll have a lot more confidence and you could master it. And
Right.
so every young man should try to find if he's lucky enough to find a field that he's interested in and wants to go. Now he needs to look and find a senior mentor in that field, someone that he respects, someone that he someone that's demonstrated mastery.
Hmm.
and he needs to go to that person and just kind of see if he can get him to be adopted. That's what I did. A lot of times these guys don't want to deal with you. You're a pain in their ass, but 99% of the time they have a heart. And if you show that you're willing and you want to pay the price and you're willing to work, he'll take you under his wing and he'll start investing in you. That's why he's resistant at first. It's an investment on his part, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, me and you both have been on the other side. We've been mentors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big investment from our side as well. You become emotionally invested in this person. You become you have to watch out. You have to put effort in. You have to take risks. You have to put your reputation on the line
Absolutely.
because now you're basically the reason that this kid needs you is because you're vouching for him with your peers. And so, as a young man, if you're listening to this, know that you're not just asking this guy to show you, you're asking this guy to risk his reputation. So, don't fuck off. Don't fuck it off. Cherish, cherish the mentor's reputation and protect him. Protect him. Doesn't mean you can't, you can fail, but don't fail because of lack of effort.
Yeah.
If you fall down and you're bloody and muddy and your pants are off, your mentor will still be proud of you and his peers won't look, it won't cost him his reputation. If you give up or you shirk or you do something dodgy or something like that, you're breaking your mentor's heart. You're breaking his heart.
It's the truth.
And don't do that.
Yeah, it's absolutely the truth, man.
It's kind of it's how the world's always worked, and they don't talk about it that much. Education's not everything. I don't care what degree you have. If you don't get a mentor in your chosen field, you're really setting yourself back.
I can speak to that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I would going at it alone is you're just going to amplify the amount of mistakes that you make.
right.
You're going to make the mistakes, but like you said, it's like having somebody there as a guide to say, yeah, okay, yeah, you fucked that up. Um, Let me explain to you how this is a normal part of the process, and like you said, facilitate the confidence to then solve the problem
Yeah,
and rise above it. And so like all of the all of these things, all of these traits. I was just having this conversation with someone the other day about the purpose of things, and you and I think have had this conversation before, where we know that no matter what we think of whatever current administration, whatever the policies are of the United States of America, we know that there's always going to be young men who are thirsting for adventure, thirsting for camaraderie, brotherhood, all of the things that they may have read about, been told stories about, seen films about, or influenced in whatever way, right? They're gonna pursue that path of adventure. It's in their
yeah,
DNA. It's in our DNA as human beings. It's
yeah.
not gonna fucking change.
And the risk is this. Now that we got maybe a glimmer of hope, but if you create a society where the young men can reasonably look at each other and say there's no legitimate way for us to progress, earn status, earn mates, earn a life, they will revolt. And here's the thing, the young men have a monopoly on the violence, period, right? They're stronger than you, they can last longer than you, go without food longer than you. And so it's very dangerous to, in my opinion, I'll preface it with this is all my opinion. Everything I say today is my opinion, in fact.
You gotta preface all that.
Right. Uh, in my opinion, if you build a society like I think we were in danger of telling young men that it doesn't matter what you do, you're the problem, your
Mhm.
ancestors the problem, you're bad, there's no route for you. That's a very dangerous message to send because look who's sending it.
Mhm.
Some little pear shaped tubby person who actually couldn't do fuck all in a real encounter, period.
Mhm.
And once that happens, they're going to find out that what they think doesn't mean anything. And the young men are going to take over every fucking thing. Okay, so let's not do that. Let's be smart and say, hey, it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect to be good, does it?
Nope. Does not.
Nothing's ever been good's been perfect. So let's maintain what's good. Let's give the young men a route. Let's provide mentorship, and let's give them a path to what they need, right? If we don't do that, then I'm going to say that we're the problem, not and they're not.
That's very true. And it's kind of it's the it's the impetus of the conversation that was struck between you and I talking about this particular venture,
Yeah,
which is talking about the history of sniping.
right,
And with without that chase, right? Without that DNA, without that desire, we wouldn't have men to fill those roles that we're going to talk about,
right,
right? And so the the fact is that no matter what, you can't get away from it. And so it's going to perpetuate no matter what, right? Because it's in our DNA.
right,
And so the way that I'm looking at this is I want to make sure that the people that we do train, the people that we do teach, have the absolute best chance, best possible outcome because they've been so well trained that they're the ones who come back. They're the ones who come back to keep this continuum in motion, right? And
right.
they will eventually come to understand because they don't understand. Like you don't know what it means to die for your country when you're 18 years
Right.
old. You have no concept of what that is. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, we can't even rent a friggin' car until we're 25,
Right, yeah,
right?
the frontal cortex doesn't fully
Yeah.
develop in males till age 25.
So you're still trying to figure stuff out. You're still trying to, learn about yourself. But what you said earlier about increasing your level of awareness of self earlier on in life is, I think, now looking back in hindsight, 2020, it has to do with how you were raised. Where were your parents at with that?
Yeah,
Where were your parents at with that? And then we just go into the generational aspect
right.
of society. And so if that wasn't getting passed down and you didn't really and you weren't exposed to it, like the concept of self is really foreign to some people because it's just
Right.
like, I don't understand what are you talking about?
And in my dad's defense, he recognized early on in me the problem that I was alluding to and tried to alert me, right?
Yeah. I didn't think that's as a father myself, like I
Yeah,
can see that in my son who's,
yeah,
a teenager. He's 14 years old and
yeah,
he's starting to look at um like we had that rites of passage conversation
yeah, yeah.
and it
Which
was
he asked that question.
which he
That's
brought it
good.
up. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's a
so
good question.
yeah, it's important and it just I mean, we study the stuff we've talked about like we do our best to keep him aware of himself as early on as possible because like you feel as though that's tremendously important
It is.
to
Yeah.
to not make I mean, you need to make mistakes so that way you can figure out what's going on in life.
It's almost like it's on a distribution curve.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you can still make it,
Yep.
right? But if you do have that, the chances of you making it drastically increase,
Yes.
right? Radically increase
Yeah, yeah.
because now you have self knowledge before you decide. The thing about knowledge is it has to be in time to act. What good is it when you're my age, 48, and you know something, you can't do fuck all about it?
True.
You're
Mhm.
fucked. So it's worse than worthless because if you still didn't know, you could blithely go along ignorant and not even have the pain, right? So it's actually worse than that even. To know after the fact that it was timely important is painful.
Mhm.
So as a young person, you've got to you got to listen and say, listen, I've got to, who am I? Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I interested in? Look down the road. Look every trail that's presented to you. Look down the road and see what the environment is. Not just the outcome, the environment. What's that environment? Can I exist in that environment? Is it a political environment? Is it a cutthroat environment? Or is it an environment that's generally honorable, that's controlled by trust? And who am I? Now, there's people out there. I got good friends. I just talked to one last night who's literally one of the most honorable men I've ever worked with and dealt with in my life. I love him like a brother. And he is just as good at me at running crews, lining out projects, getting things in line. But unlike me, he is very talented in the front office, entertaining customers, glad handing politicians, hubbubbing with fellow executives. And he's able to do that. And my hat's off to him. And like I said, I'm not saying he doesn't, it, he's one of the few that can do that. It doesn't take away from his integrity, right? Generally, the people that are good at that, the later things I mentioned, their integrity is compromised. You'll see kind of a hard line out in the world where the guys who are good at the operations, whatever you're doing, and I'm sure this is true in the Marine Corps, are generally not the best at politicking. And the guys that are the best at politicking are generally not the best at actually getting things done. And this is a dividing line to, I think, all social human institutions, right? The particular gentleman I'm mentioning is got skills in both, and he's very rare. But as a young person, you got to ask yourself, who am I, right? And I'm not taking away from the politician people, right? I'm not. That's not me. But there's a use for those people. Okay, if that's you, then know that early. Don't get, because you're going to get out in the field with Caylen Wojcik and you're going to find out you're a clown because you can't hold with him out there. But at the same time, you may find out you're better off being in an ivory tower somewhere, having meetings, discussing things, you know, or the vice versa. You may find out, hey, I'm a guy who gets the hay in the barn. I can deal with the pain. And you may find out in the world of Caylen Wojcik, I can hold, and you'll be a guy, right? And that's the difference. What I've seen in myself and others is if you can't predict that, it can get you on a road you don't want to be on.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it go both ways. I'm more on the Caylen Wojcik side of things, where I was in the operations, I was in the nitty gritty, I was down where the metal hits the meat, all the bullshit's gone, and now we got a deal. And that's where I should be. I should not be in the ivory tower where things got to be, dumbed down, uh, niceties, you know, flibberty gibberty, that kind of, that's not where I should be. But I can tell you this: I've been on the Caylen Wojcik side of things, and the guy I'm talking about, who's good at that, has saved my ass so many times. If he wasn't there, I'd have been dead. And so that's how valuable is that,
Pretty
right?
valuable.
It's fucking valuable as hell,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I'm not, even though I can't relate to that side, I'm not saying I'm not trying to denigrate it.
Sure, yeah, because everything plays a role.
Everything plays a role,
Yeah.
right? So as a young man, you've got to ask yourself, who you are. Now, I would venture to guess, and you'll certainly be the expert. A sniper is hard on on what I'm calling your side of this argument. He's out where the world actually is. No one's going to save you with an email. There's not going to be a meeting that says, well, hey, there was an administrative foul up that saves your ass. None of that's going to actually happen.
Mm-mm.
You're going to be judged on the results, period. Okay. I personally like that environment. That's the environment I prefer. I don't want to be in a world where emails matter and passwords and bullshit. Because to me, and maybe I'm dumb, touche. mm, I don't like it. I want to be in the world where, hey, did I get the hay in the barn or not?
Mm-hmm.
Did the job get done or not? That's it. And I wish I would have known that earlier in my life, and it would have changed some of the roads I decided to go down, right? Some of the promotions I chose to accept, right? Because there's this thing called the Peter Principle out in the world, right? Peter Drucker was a management consultant, I don't know, decades ago, maybe 50 years ago, in fact, Peter Drucker. And he noticed that he observed a concept where a guy gets promoted so far till he's promoted beyond his competence. And so they called it the Peter Principle, right? Big bureaucracies have a tendency to do this. The Marine Corps would be a good example, any big company, the government, right? And it happened to me, right? So it's for me, it's easy to understand mechanical things. I don't know how to. No one, no one taught me. I didn't have to be right. It's just I look at stuff and it's just like, oh yeah, boom, And so on the floor, that makes you a rock star, right? Because I can just solve everything that is put in front of me. So boom, you go through the progression quick, right? Well, the next thing you know, you're like the floor, they've called the floor general, the guy running the floor, and you're kicking ass in that role. Then you do so good, they say, hey, we're going to make this guy the plant manager. Okay, sweet. Hey, hold it. Hold the phone. Now you're going to have to be in meetings. You're going to be dealing with some of the most sophisticated weasels in the world that are way smarter than you. And they will lie to your face and not bat an eye. And you're a dope. And you think you're still using the values from right? You see where we're going here?
Oh, dude, this is the biggest. It was literally the biggest wake up call I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
when I
yeah,
got out
yeah.
of the Marine Corps.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the biggest wake up.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was this. I remember I can distinctly remember the emotion that I
I
felt
think I'm gonna get it just a little bit.
when I came to my psyche came to the conclusion that this was my new existence,
Right.
and it wept. It literally wept because I knew that nothing was ever going to be the same
Right.
ever again.
And totally different from your experience as a Sergeant Wojcik, where everything is totally true blue, no one lies. See,
Well, I mean, people do that. I mean, that is a thing. However, um, it's not, it's no, it's not because you're always going to be accountable for you always
that's why you
are
can't
accountable
lie.
for your actions.
That's
Yeah.
why you
It's
can't
just,
lie.
it'll eventually work its
Right.
way out.
It's the same thing in my world. If you're a welder
Oh, perfect example. Yeah.
and you're the process to go to the next station, you fucking can't lie.
Nope.
Because if you do, you're going to be spanked instantly.
Yeah. Cause we either did the welds
Yeah.
or we didn't.
And it's 100% accountability instantly. So it's like in our society, bizarrely, all across it from one ocean to the next, in every organization and every social institution we have, there's this imaginary line between the people that function in the world where they have to produce the result, the product or service that's being marketed,
Mhm.
versus the people that administer it. No one tells you where that line is. It's not demarcated, it's not flagged. It exists. On the side that me and you relate to, you actually can't lie because everything's 100% accountability, like you just illustrated.
Yep.
On the other side, all that's gone. It's a whole different game. And that's where a lot of young men, including yours truly, can get their ass in a big ringer. Because once you get promoted in this world to the top, you're right on the edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you find yourself stepping from one side to the next multiple times a day. Now you put a lot of intensity, a lot of pressure, a lot of money on that. Are you going to make a mistake and bring the values from one side to the next? Fuck yeah, you are.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that manifest? Well, you step over, you haven't gotten out of this, and some director tells a bold faced lie in a director's meeting that he's released 100% of the prints, and you say, well, guess what? I haven't seen one. Where the fuck are they? And everybody's like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit, right? Because you've just broken an imaginary rule,
Yep.
right?
Have you ever heard of Robert Greene? You got to read. So
isn't he? No, I think I've read the rule. It's the 48 Laws of Power.
48 Laws of
Yeah,
Power.
I read that. I laughed. I when I read it, I laughed because I said, hey, this is what happened to me. I'm the dope in the story. Okay.
So when I first read that book, Cassandra turned me onto it. And I got through probably like the first 5 laws.
Yeah.
And I was in here loading ammunition, and I was like, I can't stand. So I pick up the phone, I dial the number. I'm like, hey, this book is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, big time.
And she was just like,
I had the same reaction.
I know, right? And she goes, well, what do you mean? And I was just like, well, this book is just basically teaching you how to be a piece of shit, like not a good human being. And then we had a conversation about it, and it was like, well, okay, you could look at it from 2 points of view. Ultimately, at the end of the conversation, to make a long story short, it was like, well, you could either look at it as from that perspective, or you could look at it from the perspective of this is a warning. These are the traits that you need to be aware of. These are the archetypes. Basically, it's 48 archetypes. That book is a list of 48 archetypes.
Yeah. The mentor, he's the one that gave me the book.
Uh-huh.
He was trying to prep me. Imagine a hayseed, a cowboy falling off a hay truck, little hay in his shorts and shit, going into this corporate world
from the ween ass.
From the fucking ween ass. Yeah. So he gives me the book, right? I think I'm like 22 years old. Okay. I read the book overnight. I come back in fucking pissed. I slam it down on his desk. And I go, this fucking book's bullshit. The fuck are you doing? Give me this cowardly book. Degenerate book. You fucking cocksuckers. No emotion. And think about how just, hey kids, don't do this. Just so you know. This was a lot of arrogance and hubris on my part as a young man to behave this way with a vaunted professional, a fucking legend. I'm offended by the book he's given me. Think about how dumb that is. Okay, just so kids, this is all, don't do this shit. But I did it nonetheless. And he waited till I calmed down, and my hackles fucking laid down, and I was sitting there, tail slap. My tail was actually now between my legs, slapped me in the lip because I realized I'd fucked up big time. Okay. Ever seen a dog get beat and his tail slapped in the lip, kids? Yeah. That's where we're at. And he says, listen, son, I didn't give you that book to tell you how to act. I gave you that book to show you what's going to happen to you. This is the world. And this is going to happen to you whether you like it or not. And you've got to be prepared.
You're going to see these things.
Yeah. You've got to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he said those words, mentally, I did like a 180, felt like a dope, because in fact I was. And here I'm coming in like I'm morally fucking superior when I'm a goddamn kid. What superiority do I have? It's 0. And my mentor left roughly 10 seconds, spanked my pee-pee, and made me realize that everything he had just done to me was 100% love.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is not a pretty place. It's a vicious place sometimes. And he's trying to give me some armor to survive this fucker. And all that went through my mind in just an instant. I immediately apologized, recognized everything.
It's like those immediate, like insta-dots.
Yeah, boom.
In a flash, we connected all this stuff, and we're like, oh, okay, Roger.
Fucking Roger, big time.
Yeah.
Right? And my tail fucking tucked fucking back in, and I got the fuck out of there and went back to work. But yeah, that's an important book. I think all young men should read that book. Uh, it's Robert Greene and something Juiced. I don't remember his first name. Something Juiced.
It's phenomenal. He's written, I think, 6 or 8.
Yeah, yeah,
There's another one, The Laws of Human Nature.
yeah, yeah.
He wrote The Laws of
The Laws of
Seduction,
War. I have.
the 33 Laws of
Yeah, yeah.
War,
I've got that. Yeah,
and then he did another one, or wait a minute, no, he didn't do. I can't remember if he did Power versus Force. Power versus Force is out there too, which is
yeah,
another really good one. And we're going to do the topic. Our Headspace Hub topic this month is going to be Power versus Force. We opened up with Chase versus Healthy Desire, and we're bringing the Headspace Hub back this year.
yeah.
And it's like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
I think it's super important. I want to extend a personal thanks to you for being a listener and a follower of the Modern Day Sniper podcast. We appreciate every single one of you guys. And without you, we would not be where we're at today. If you guys enjoy the show, if you like the show, cruise on over to any of the podcast outlets that you're listening to this show on and leave us a comment. We read every single one of them. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Your input is going to help us develop better content, the stuff that you want to listen to. Again, we thank you very much. We appreciate you guys for listening and following. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, let's get back to the show. I don't know, before we get too deep, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, you guys got really deep really fast. Well, I want to introduce Nate Humbard to our audience. Nate I met Nate what year was that? 2009?
I think it was 2009. Yeah.
It was 2009. So you came out and you were a participant in a class that
Well, hold on. It was a little bit more detailed than that.
what
You show. I wasn't smart enough to find you. You found me accidentally. You found my part of my family,
Oh, that's right, at the Bass Ranch.
and they said, "Hey, Nate," they go, "There's a Marine Scout sniper putting on a course out here on the ranch." I said, "Fuck, hey." I said, "Shouldn't I be like in that, you know?" And they're like, "Well, fuck yeah, we already put you in." And so that's how we met. Yeah, it was about 2009.
Yeah.
It was, and to be honest, and we haven't gone through my childhood and background, but I was a little bit arrogant, thinking to myself, probably ain't much this guy's going to show me, really, because I've been surrounded by rifles and shooting and reloading and everything, gunsmithing since I was just in my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and I was absolutely rocked at the level of mastery that Caylen has over the rifle, and I still am to this day. This is maybe my third year or fourth year working with him. I learn something every time I go to the range with him. His mastery of the rifle is phenomenal. He's a wonderful teacher, and that all came through in that first class. And I was just, I couldn't. It really kind of lit a fire under my ass, to be honest with you. I was like, hey, I thought I knew what the hell I was doing. I just found out I don't know jack shit. Okay.
I've had those experiences myself, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Very, very,
Totally,
very kind.
totally deserved.
So, well, we shot out there for 4 days, and
And a
it was,
brutal snowstorm.
yeah, it was cold. It was cold. It was super cold. We don't get those cold Novembers anymore.
Yeah.
We don't get them.
Yeah.
That was like 6-8 inches of snow on the ground. Man,
Like single digit temps.
it's kind of like what it is right now, and it's February.
Yeah.
So fast forward, we go, from there in 2009, and then it was probably what, 20, when did you start coming out?
It was 4
About
years
2020.
ago. 4 years ago, I'd left my last job, as a director of manufacturing operations, and I just laid around trying to figure out what happened to me in life. And I thought to myself, hey, this fucking Caylen guy was a fucking super stud. Fuck, where's he at? I could maybe like tie his
Did
shoes
you
or
did you just did you just Google it?
yeah. I go, hey, I go, maybe I could like paint a target for him or you know, give him a cup of coffee or something. He would maybe let me hang around.
You're being an asshole now.
No, this is reality. This is what I thought. Like, he might let me. So I fucking Googled, hey, Caylen Wojcik, where the fuck is he? Found him. Found out he was still here right by me.
We're right on the other side of the ridge.
Yeah, yeah. So I sent him an email or something, and he reached out. We met for breakfast, and he was merciful and said, "I'll let you."
Benevolent, maybe benevolent.
Benevolent. He let me hang around, and so I get to hang around, and what I try to do because of my background, I totally understand who the value added person is, and it would be him. And I figure out how to get out in front and make him more effective. That's what I try to do.
No, man, you're selling yourself short here. So
That's exactly what I do. Yeah.
you're a really good coach with students. And
Well,
so
sometimes
for those of you guys who are going to come out in Yakima, Nate assists with us as an assistant instructor out of Yakima, and
Yeah.
you're super helpful developing your skills as a teacher as well. You're very articulate. You're a very articulate person. You know how to speak to people, and your ability to communicate information is really important, which is why we're doing what we're doing, and we're getting there in a very roundabout way. And the reason that we're doing it this way is because I wanted people to kind of see, who Nate is, and understand that you have an affinity for history.
Big time. Yeah.
And every single time we have conversations, it always comes circles around to history. And
Yeah. Well, let's ask ourselves why that is. Just
well,
briefly.
I
See,
don't know, what's your point of view?
maybe it happened from my professional experience. You're trying to build things.
Mhm.
Okay. And so here, I'm a dope, I've here's,
You're
hey,
not a fucking dope. Quit.
hold on. Let's hold the fucking, hold the phone. Kids, the best attitude you could have is that you're a dope. Okay. Here's why. I'll explain. The worst thing, what I've seen, the biggest, because I've been in the biggest big shot meetings you can be in. I've been surrounded by the smartest people in the room my whole life. You know what their weakness is? They know they're the smartest people in the room, and it prevents them from seeing reality.
Mm.
Okay. So listen to me, young people. Assume the best assumption you can make coming into a problem is that you fucking don't know. You understand what I'm telling you? You fucking don't know, because you don't. If you did, the fucking problem wouldn't exist.
That's a good point.
So show up humble. Shut the fuck up. Go to where the problem is and watch. And if you're talented and insightful, you'll eventually figure it out. This has been my whole career. That's what I did. That's all I did. That's all I did. I said, hey, I don't know where the fuck's the problem. Let me go there. Let me observe. Let me ask questions. Let me keep observing. I've sat and watched one process for fucking weeks.
Trying to figure it out.
And I did. I eventually did. But it took me that long. Think about how bizarre. Think about how ridiculous, like all you people out in the professional environment right now, an asshole sitting at one process every day, not going anywhere, not sending emails, just sitting there watching that. You would all make fun of him. Maybe rightfully so. But you're not going to solve the problem unless you have deep understanding about the process, period.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I've had to do that numerous times. Okay. So when I say, hey, I'm the dope, I'm telling the truth. And I got out here and Caylen graciously allowed me to get on his field. And And even now, I'm honored to be on his field because he is the master of this, of what we're doing. I've seen all kind of shit. He knows how to use a rifle and communicate how to use that rifle like nobody in the environment we have. And I'm luckily allowed to assist in that endeavor. Uh, I'm very interested in rifles. I've had one in my hands probably every day, unless I was in the hospital, maybe, since I've been, 12 years old. I live in the country, the ween ass, and rifles are just a regular everyday tool.
Mhm. Well, man, thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate it. I really do. And um, the thing that we resonate on a lot of topics and largely history, and I always obtain an education
Yeah.
after we have conversations, which is so there's another guy as well that we're going to bring onto the podcast. His name is Josh Hamblin, and we taught together for a couple of years at the First Mardiv Sniper School. He's also a big history of sniping buff, and I'm really excited to maybe just get the three of us together.
Yeah, that'd be
That would
cool.
be super badass.
Yeah.
We're going to bring him out because he's also going to be one of those individuals that we interview for that legacy project that we've talked about, and that would be fantastic to get us all together and have these conversations. But when you have a deep knowledge and a personal interest in the history of not only our nation, but captains. What did you call them? Captains,
The captains of history.
the captains of history. And so I enjoy sitting here having these
Yeah.
conversations. And this is one of the things that, we wanted to do was talk about the history of sniping and where did it come from?
Yeah.
Where did it originate from? And where can we highlight specific key individuals in its history
Right.
and just educate people about it
Right.
and say, hey, we're just kind of bringing a different light to the podcast. I mean, I get it. People want to hear about shooting. They want to hear about how do we how do we set a rifle up and how do we build it or assemble it and set the length of pull and eye relief and zero it, all those things. And those are great topics.
Right.
But there's a lot of that information out there, and I would love to just kind of
Right. And
branch things out.
it's really not the gist because if you think about it, one of our first guys that we want to talk about, his name's Lewis Wetzel, and he was in the 18th century.
Lewis Wetzel.
Yeah, and they nicknamed him Deathwind. He didn't even have a rifle; he had a musket, but it was a long arm, and he could deploy it with accuracy, and he defended and allowed our nation to survive. And sniping is kind of an American thing. Uh, the rifle's not; it's a German thing. But the German immigrants brought it here, and we had a need. We had a bigger need than everybody else, so it was maximized here. I guess would be a good way to say it, right?
You're talking about from the standpoint of pilgrims coming here from
Yeah,
Europe in
yeah, yeah.
right.
So the German gunsmiths eventually figured out that if you put a twist in the barrel, it stabilizes the bullet and make it more accurate,
Hmm.
right? Now here's the problem. In a military sense, in those years, that didn't really matter that much, right? The problem with rifling is it slows down reloading.
How did it slow down? Oh, reloading the bore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
got it.
it's tight,
Yep.
right? Versus a smooth bore's quick. So the military didn't adopt rifling for quite a while. But out on the American frontier, one accurate shot mattered a fucking lot.
Hmm. That mattered whether or not your family was going to eat.
Yeah. And so German immigrants came over, they understood rifling, they built gunsmith shops, and they started building these rifles, and they were slow to reload, but it didn't matter for the guys that wanted them. He wasn't trying to defend himself against a charge.
Mhm.
He was trying to shoot an elk and actually kill. He's only got one shot with a muzzleloader, right?
Mhm.
He's got to hit it,
Mhm.
right? And then later on, as we'll get into in later podcasts, uh, that one accurate shot becomes more and more important.
Mhm.
And to this day, that one accurate shot's very important, right? And so that's kind of how it happened. And you know, there's a lot that the history of sniping is very deep and very broad. And I don't think that we'll be able to cover 100% of it in this podcast, no matter how long it goes on, because it's so huge. Uh, Caylen will decide what we do, what we talk about. But for all you young snipers out there, young would-be snipers, just know that sniping has a proud history. They have changed the tides of war many times in history. And I predict that even though we're right now in a kind of a dark age of sniping, at some point in the future, it'll do so again. It's an honorable profession to pursue.
Well, I think we're kind of in a dark age of it, at least on the Marine Corps side of the house, from a, from a conventional warfare side of the house from the
Right.
Marines. The Army's still maintaining their snipers in the way that they've employed them in the past.
Yeah.
Special Operations Command is still utilizing snipers the way that they have, and around the world, around the globe, a lot of information coming from the conflict in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everyone's worried about the drones.
yeah.
Infantry's done. Snipers can't operate. All that. Right.
Well, we're seeing images and limited usage of those assets in that conflict, and I
Yeah.
can see, just having done close target reconnaissance and understanding uh, the practicality of maintaining 360-degree camouflage in X, Y, and Z axis
Yeah.
is pretty intense. Like,
Right.
that's a huge workload,
Right.
and things can get quite impractical very, very quickly
Right.
in order for you to keep yourself and your men concealed. And so there's the way that snipers are being utilized, at least over in that theater, is limited, but yet they're quite effective. But they still have to defeat things like thermal imaging being used during the day now
Yeah.
to detect snipers, just because the nature of that warfare, and the theater and the micro terrain that they're
Yeah.
utilizing.
We know thermal imaging works good in the day.
Hmm.
I have buddies who have it, and they go around in the middle of the day and find animals
Hmm.
they never would have found with glass.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So it's just like right now it's a dark age. We'll see what happens. Uh, the idea this has happened before. That this in fact when we get into the history podcast, we'll find out sniping's always been relegated to the back. Its whole time.
So I told you about the conversation that I had with Tim Parkhurst
Yeah.
from the Heritage Foundation, Marine Corps Scout Sniper Heritage
Yeah.
Foundation. They have, we've had them on the podcast too. So as far back as 1916, the
Yeah.
Marine Corps, anyways,
Yeah.
has physical documents, as well as, well, I guess a picture is a physical document, right? Of sniper school based out of Quantico, because they knew that they needed this asset because they were learning from the British,
Right. Right.
because the Germans had dominated the
Right.
battlefield
Right.
using
Right.
snipers.
Yep.
And I think the goal with this facet of the Modern Day Sniper podcast is to focus on one, either a particular time in history, or one individual, excuse me, ugh, one individual or one period of time to focus on and talk about,
Yeah.
and to say, okay, well, this person or this could be something as a tool, a new weapon, a new type of ammunition,
Right.
an evolution of technique that influenced the battlefield. And that's going to tie in really closely with the other project that we're going to do with the Marine Corps Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation, which is creating a catalog or a time capsule of snipers from the global war on terror. I'm going to take it all the way back to Somalia, right?
Yeah, for
I'm going to
sure.
take it all the way back to
Yeah.
Somalia because that's more of the
Yeah.
quote unquote modern times of warfare that we
Yeah. I totally agree.
recorded.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So we'll interview guys from Somalia all the way on up until 2023,
Yeah.
right? What your experience was in both the conventional as well as special operations side, because what we want to do is preserve that legacy
Absolutely.
and make sure that however long this gap is on the conventional side of the house, however long the gap is, it will eventually come to an end, and they will reinstate this asset
You bet your
in a
ass.
formal capacity.
Yeah.
But then we want to be able to give those guys, hey, this is this library, this is this time capsule of information.
This is the etymology. This is the history. This is the uh, heritage
Mhm,
that you come from,
mhm.
and it matters.
So that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Yeah, you can see what was done and hear about what
Which has
was done.
happened in history, by the way.
Yeah.
So Captain Land, everyone probably knows who he is. Carlos Hathcott's officer.
Mhm.
He had to reinvent the wheel in 1965 on Hill 55 in Vietnam, when in fact World War One had happened, World War Two had happened, a lot of shit had happened, Korea had happened, and yet he's got his dick in his hand on Hill. Think about it, Hill 55, dick in hand. Yeah. Okay, hey, this is why I love the Wojcik side of the imaginary line, because this is how it really plays out. The people on this side have no fucking clue, in some regards, and this is how it plays out. So Captain Land's sitting out there at Hill 55, dick in hand, and they go, "Hey, you've got to stand up a sniper fucking program in the middle of a fucking goddamn war." He's got nothing, literally nothing. But he's not dumb, and he's able to utilize. He says, "Hey, who's the best Marine Corps shooter we actually have?" And they tell him it's Carlos Hathcock, and he says, well, "Where the fuck's that asshole?" Well, fuck, they got him guarding a gas station in fucking Da Nang. He's like, "What? Get him the fuck out of there," And so he starts from there. Now, let's stop right there and ask ourselves this: instead of that, what if instead they could say, "Hey, let's pull up Sergeant Wojcik's whole sniper library on how to actually do this shit way better,
Well, that's the
way better."
goal. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
way better.
And to use just modern technology to be able to search things very, very quickly,
Yeah,
be able to identify a tidbit of information that you need, like right now, a live search feature that you could actually use on the range and go, hey, wait a
right,
minute, how do you do this again?
right.
Boom, done. You got it right there. And that's the cool part about technology and what we have access to today. So, um, but the history piece of it, man, I'm always and from what we're gonna do, I would like to start off as far as probably just focus on the American side, but at the same time, go as deep as we can to figure out like, hey, where did this originate from? And you brought up the fact that their German immigrants came with the technology of understanding how to shoot a Kentucky rifle more accurately,
Yeah,
which would
they
be
put
the
rifling in the
rifle.
gun. Yeah,
Mhm. And so from that point, where did like what where did that go? And what would you say would probably be the first uh influencer, influential influencer, right?
yeah.
Because that's this
It's
bullshit term
certainly
now.
it's certainly General Washington.
Okay. All right.
He's He's the first guy that I can find in history that specifically requested and deployed snipers in the field. Obviously, the German immigrants invented rifling, and they had rifles over there. But as far as actually saying we're going to use aimed fire to kill specific targets, General Washington, President Washington, whatever you want to call him, he was the one that I can identify at this point. It was not. It was not. Not everybody was on board.
Right.
The British, of course, were against it because their officers were the targets.
Right.
Our people,
and it wasn't an honorable way.
Yeah, that's the way they tried to sell it. They said, "Hey, it's not honorable, it's dishonorable, it's this and that." But you got to think about it. So put yourself in General Washington's shoes. You know, as a young man, he was a junior officer in the French Indian Wars, and so he had a lot of combat experience versus the British, versus the French, and they had their Indian allies. And the Indians were, and I have to say, were smarter than us. Said, "Hey, why would you march out in a field and exchange volley fire when you can anticipate their movements, post up in an ambush site, and just smoke them?" Right? I mean,
that's what we do.
Hey, touche to the Indians, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm on board. Yeah. And so Washington was a recipient of that type of warfare. So later, as the leader of our resistance, Washington's clearly aware that he's outgunned, outmatched, outfinanced, out everything. So, but what did he have? He had experienced riflemen. And so he told himself this: I don't have to win this. I'm not going to beat the British Empire. That's absurd, right? But what I can do is outlive them. We can see the remnants of that in our own GWAT, right? The Taliban didn't think, hey, we're going to beat America. We can't, but we can outlast them, right? And so as the weaker party in a conflict, what are you going to do, right? You're not going to align your troops out in an open field and march them and exchange volley fire, because you're going to lose that encounter. So General Washington said, we're not going to do that. We're going to adopt guerrilla warfare tactics. We're going to employ snipers. And he is the first person I can see in military history that said, hey, we're going to have riflemen. We're going to specifically interdict on individuals, officers, right? And my hat's off to him. And I'll tell you, this is a little sidebar, but for all those out there that say, hey, America's fucked up, or General Washington's a okay, hey, whatever. Hey, look at the history of this. Every revolutionary in history, and I challenge you, because I've done it myself. I tried to find it. Can't. He's the only revolutionary in history that replaced that which he destroyed with something smaller and freer. Smaller and freer. Think of that.
Yeah.
And this is in the 1700s. At the time, everybody made fun of him. The British assumed they'd reconquered immediately. The whole world laughed. He said, they begged him. They begged General Washington to stay as king, because he was the only person they trusted. And everyone can relate to that, right? Everyone can relate to that. If I'm out at the range and there's a dispute, I'm going to find out what Caylen wants the fuck to do. That's it. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, hey, fuck you. What's Caylen want to do? That's what we're doing. Everyone can relate to that. So think about it. Everyone's saying, hey, what's General Washington want to do? And so when when he said, "I'm leaving after 8 years," everyone shit their pants. No one trusted anybody. And they begged him repeatedly. And he said, "We didn't do this to replace one tyrant with another. The people are going to elect a new guy." And the whole world laughed. Howled. Think of the hyenas. They're just out there howling. It's going to fail. Well, history has shown that General Washington was correct, for good, bad, or indifferent. America became the most powerful, the most lucrative, the best freedom, the best lifestyle, the best everything in the world. And so we can't judge General Washington was right. That's what we have to conclude. It wasn't perfect, but it was good.
Mhm.
General Washington was right, and he used snipers to do it.
It was the only way that he knew that he could prevail.
Yeah, he had to use snipers to do it. He didn't have the manpower to march out in a field, exchange volley fire over and over and over again. The British had more people,
Mhm.
more money, more firearms.
Well, the commentary of, or the phrase, "Kill one and terrorize 1,000"
Yeah,
is very real.
yeah,
It's very real.
yeah. So he utilized that. What did General Washington have at his disposal? He had a bunch of frontiersmen that all had rifles because they're trying to survive.
And they knew how to use them.
Yeah, they knew how to use them. They can't go out there and shoot an elk in the Appalachians with a smoothbore at 150 yards because obviously that doesn't work.
Mhm.
They all had rifles. Now, yeah, they're slower to reload, but the frontiersman didn't care. No one's shooting at him. So he gets the one good loaded shot. He plays the wind. He makes his stock. He gets within range. He makes the one good shot on the elk and kills it. And now he's fed his family and maybe his neighbor's family for 6 months.
Mhm.
Right? So rifles were a big deal in the American frontier. That's what Washington had available to himself. That's what he had.
Well, and we've forever been obviously from that point forward, we've been labeled as a country of riflemen.
And you say it all the time. I forgot to mention that. Caylen always and repeatedly mentions that we're a country of riflemen, and he's 100% right. Our country was founded and maintained by riflemen, period.
Mhm.
Every war, every single war from the Revolution to now, our country's been created and maintained by riflemen. Caylen's 100% right.
All right, real quick. I know everybody hates ads. Nobody likes their show being interrupted to talk about stuff, but I got to let you guys know about the Modern Day Rifleman Network. The Modern Day Rifleman Network is the largest growing online community of precision shooters out there today. What's different about it? Well, first off, it is not social media, number one. It's not a Facebook group. Number two, it is not a forum in the traditional sense. It is its own platform, its own software, and there's about 10,000 people in there that are just like you, who are discerning long range shooters, precision shooters that are looking to just get information to help them become better at what they are choosing to do and spend their time with, which is long range shooting. If you're interested in that kind of group and that kind of community, it really is super unique. And I can't really explain it too much more than just saying, hey, man, if you haven't gone over there, check it out, see what we have built, and see what's going on inside there. There is a tremendous amount of free information available to you that's really easily searchable. And it's really, I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but I think it's really well organized and easy for you to find the information you're looking for. So, on top of Modern Day Rifleman Network on the free side, we also have our monthly subscription service called Modern Day Rifleman Advantage. And inside that, you're going to get access to about 4 hours of content a month, as well as monthly dry fire drills or daily dry fire drills, training sessions, and another internal community inside of that. It's like it's like a Patreon thing on steroids, right? We have tons of information in there, and our content vault inside the Advantage program goes back like 5 years. So there is so much information in there. It's kind of mind blowing when we look at it. But we're just going to keep going forward and keep adding to it. You've got a tremendous benefit in there. On top of that, if you're a professional sniper and you are looking to get more information, because let's face it, your department, your unit, your agency, whatever it is, they're not going to be doing that for you. That's on you because you are the volunteer. We have created a tremendous amount of resources in there for our professional users because those are my roots. That's where I cut my teeth in this community, is in the sniper community. And I understand that it's difficult to find information, and a lot of it is on you. Well, the majority of it's on you to continue to source it. Modern Day Sniper Pro, you get access to sniper specific stuff, content. You get sniper specific live question and answer sessions every month, lessons that are directly applicable to professional snipers, as well as you also get access to all the Modern Day Rifleman Advantage content too. So it's kind of like a twofer. Make sure you guys go check that out. We have discounts available for our first responders, active and retired, former military, because we want to take care of you guys. We know that finding information out there is not easy to do. So we're trying to make it easy for you. All right, man. So that's my spiel with Modern Day Rifleman Advantage and Modern Day Rifleman, the free side, as well as Modern Day Sniper Pro. So let's get back to the episode. Well, okay, so when we get into the history of sniping, when it starts off, let's talk about one prolific dude from the Revolutionary War that you know of, or an organization that you know of. Because I got the Oracle here, right? If we need it, we got it right here.
I can give you my own thing. It's I have to apologize to the public for my lack of recall. I'm actually not that dumb, but sometimes I got too much shit.
So we got the Google machine here
bouncing around. There's one guy in the Revolutionary War who needs to be mentioned. Daniel Morgan's who we're looking for.
Daniel Morgan.
Okay.
All right. So let's do this. Daniel Morgan. Daniel Morgan, Revolutionary War. There it is.
Yep. Now, Daniel Morgan was not in the military when the war started. He was kind of an outlaw. He was a teamster. He was various other trades. But he must have been an accomplished rifleman. And I'm not sure how Washington knew about him. I've looked to see what was the connection between Washington and Daniel Morgan. How is it that an unknown, like you'd think, let's think about it today. It'd be like if General Mattis said, "Hey, I'm going to grab this guy out of the civilian population and put him in charge of something." That's absurd, right?
Absurd. That's your word.
Yeah, that's totally crazy. That's what happened. This Daniel Morgan character was not in the military, but somehow General Washington knew about him and requisitioned him and said, "You're going to build a rifle company." And he did. And he got 98 volunteers. And, me and Caylen talked about this, in the literature, it says in order to be a part of that, you had to shoot a 1-inch black circle between the knees of your fellow sniper at 60 yards.
Yeah.
Which we believe had to have been American propaganda at that time. There's no way a sniper would allow someone to shoot at him at 60 yards with a piece of wood between his knees.
Right. Yeah, I'm out, Sarge.
Right. So we think that might have been fake news back in the 18th century. Okay.
Fake news.
And the other thing they said in the literature at the time was that he had to shoot a 5x7 piece of wood at 250 yards with their rifle. The Kentucky rifle, Pennsylvania, a rifled musket.
That's what, 2 that's like 2 MOA by 2.5 MOA.
Yeah, yeah, and over open sights, it's not obvious that you could see that in the least, right?
That's very true.
So
At
what I
200 yards,
yeah, 250 yards.
250 yards, yeah.
So what I think is that somebody on some Washington told somebody to publish that to create fear in the enemy.
Classic propaganda.
Right. And but it didn't really take away from the effectiveness of the men.
Okay.
And so at the Battle of Saratoga was the first time that I can see that aimed rifle fire actually happened.
Corroborated by the Oracle.
Yeah. And so they were in a fight with the British. There was a British officer on the other side who was really had a lot of land, a lot of motivation. He was kicking ass. He was winning the fight. And our side requested that he would to be dispatched. And Daniel Morgan was given the order. And then he ordered a guy named Tim Murphy.
We're going to talk about that guy too, right?
Yeah, we will. Tim Murphy's his own. Yeah, Tim Murphy's the actual guy that did. So Daniel Morgan would have been like you.
He'd have been like the chief sniper.
He's the guy running things, right?
Okay.
He selected, trained, and formed the dudes.
Roger.
Right. So that would be you in the scenario. Tim Murphy's the actual shooter. So when Daniel Morgan's given the order to take that officer out, he finds Tim Murphy. Tim Murphy climbs a tree, shoots this officer through the midsection, and he dumps off his horse, and they drag him off the battlefield. The British they probably thought it was an accident or something, so they sent another one out, and Tim Murphy dumped him as well. It was roughly 300 yards. After that, they realized, oh no, they're targeting our guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ended the battle. Our side won. Okay. That's the first time that I can see in military history. And I looked in the European side, the Europeans had rifles, but I don't see any evidence of aimed fire at high value targets until the Napoleonic Wars, which
Right.
were, several decades later. So I kind of suspect that we are the originators of this sniper targeting high value targets and taking them out as a military advantage. And so Tim Murphy took out two officers in succession with a muzzleloader rifle, and that tremendously impacted that battle, the Battle of Saratoga,
Mm-hmm.
and gave tremendous elan to our side, propaganda our side, and allowed Washington to continue collecting money because he was, not everybody in America was on board with what he was doing, right? It was kind of like it is now. Nothing's new under the sun, right?
Right.
So he was fighting an internal propaganda battle, right? But nothing is better than victory, right? So the demonstration that we could win helps. More people donate, more people say, hey, we can get on board with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And snipers were critical in that in the founding of America. And, later on in the podcast, I'll illustrate how it continues to happen. There was a battle later on in the South called the Battle of Kings Mountain that was absolutely won by snipers, period, during the Revolutionary War. And
Well, how far south? What are we talking?
I think it was in the Carolinas, either north or south.
Okay.
When we get there, I'll have the details. Like I said earlier, I have a lot of things in my brain rolling around. But the Battle of Kings Mountain absolutely happened. Snipers absolutely won that battle. And, even Daniel Morgan himself wasn't over with. Everybody's seen the movie Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
The guy in that movie is roughly based off Daniel Morgan. And if you remember the beginning of that movie, he turns his boys into snipers
Mm-hmm.
to retrieve his one son that's still alive.
That's the now the cliche phrase. Aim small, miss small.
Yeah. And so that whole movie and story is roughly based off Daniel Morgan. The enemy, Tarleton or whatever his name is, was a real guy, and there was a battle called the Battle of Cowpens that actually happened, where Daniel Morgan, this Tarleton fellow, was a brutal fucker. He terrorized civilians,
Right.
and Washington wanted him fucking gone because he wasn't he was not interested in just military. He wanted to punish anybody he thought was supportive. So he would the movie's not totally inaccurate. I mean, it may be a little exaggerated, but he punished civilians, and so they sent Daniel Morgan to get him.
Mm.
And so what Daniel Morgan did was create a scenario where Tarleton could chase him, follow him, and he picked the ground he wanted. It was 2 hills in enfilade. And he sent the snipers out first, and he told those snipers, hey, you've got to get one shot off on the first hill, retreat back to the second hill, and get it. And when they come over, make a second shot. Then you can retreat to the flank. And he had hidden the main infantry behind the hill of the second flank.
Mm.
And so what he did is he kind of baited Tarleton in.
He baited him in.
He used snipers to bait him. And Tarleton was known as being arrogant, just like he is in the movie, gung-ho, wants to kick ass, doesn't perceive the danger. So he bit hook, line, and sinker. And when those snipers dumped a few of his guys, he gave chase. When they dumped a few more, he gave even further chase because he doesn't perceive an army. He perceives some skirmishers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he come over that second hill, got in the bottom. And Daniel Morgan deployed the real infantry and fucking destroyed his army in its entirety. Complete destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And they chased they didn't get Tarleton. They tried to catch him. They chased him for miles. But he got away. But Cornwallis, who was in charge, was so embarrassed at this loss
You can see that.
that he relieved Tarleton of his duties and sent him back to England. Sent him home. So you can see, if you look at the literature, you'll see that snipers have been critical to our maintenance and defense from the beginning, is what I'm saying, all the way through. And so anybody who's a sniper that's out there who wants to be a sniper, it's an honorable profession. You've had a big impact on what's happened in American history. And even though we're in a alleged dark age right now, this has happened before.
It absolutely has.
Although
from the Marine Corps Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation's standpoint, there was the only time that we did not have a school was in between World War II and Vietnam.
Yeah.
Korea was kind of left out to hang to dry.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it is the forgotten war. Unfortunately, so it was still a war. People still died, many, many of them. But regardless, that was the point in time in history. World War I, World War II, on the Marine Corps side of the house anyways, we did have documented schoolhouses.
Yeah.
And then in between World War II and Vietnam was kind of like the dark zone where we didn't have anything. And then in Vietnam, 1965 came around.
Yeah.
Major land, and the rest is history from there. But
wasn't, the continuity wasn't there to where, I mean, the reality is Major Land was literally out there dick in hand. And so the continuity broke down and he made it stop.
Mm-hmm.
So the continuity, from then on, the continuity was there until now, which is absurd, but it is what it is.
Your word again.
Yeah.
Absurd.
It's totally absurd, but it is what it is, right?
That's the first time we had that conversation.
I mean,
that's an amazing word. It's
well,
absurd.
because I mean, anybody who's got their eyes open the world's absurd.
It is absurd.
I mean, it is. So anyway, yeah, here's what happens. The revolution happens. Luckily, Washington's able to prevail. We start our country. Everybody's doubtful. They think it'll be over, quickly.
It's
In
all gonna
fact,
fail.
in 1812, they try to take it back.
Mhm.
We win it again. And then we have a relative long period of development peace where snipers aren't really a thing, other than the local guys, like I'm talking about with Lewis Wetzel, where there's Indian fighting, right? But technology keeps progressing, right? Technology keeps and the buffalo hunters come along,
Oh boy, yeah,
and
that's
they
it.
really add to that need really adds to the development technology of riflery and there's a guy, his name's Billy Dixon. He got involved in a fight against a huge tribe of Indians, like 700 of them, and he was at a place called Adobe Walls, and it would have been in like the 1870s. There was 28 buffalo hunters and one woman at this place. It was a camp like Adobe Walls. And Quanah Parker, who was a chief, I don't remember which tribe it was, but there was 700 braves, and they decided to attack these. And I think in the literature it says that they were somewhat trespassing the buffalo hunters onto the natives' land.
What does that even mean? Trespassing? Is there even a thing for trespassing back then?
I
Were
think
we
back.
talking about checkerboards? Were we talking
I
about like
think
corn
back.
hopping,
I think.
trespassing?
I think back then it was whoever won the gunfight
Yeah, right.
was the winner.
Right. This is
And
my piece of dirt.
yeah, I
Those
think
dead fuckers over there say that it's mine.
that's how it played out. So the Quanah Parker and his 700 Braves believed that they were trespassing, and so they surrounded him. It's 28 people in a little, Quonset, basically a little adobe wall there, and they kept trying to figure out how to, overrun them. They got the numbers, but these guys have guns, and so they were able to stop several charges and several attempts to overrun them. But they're running out of bullets, they're running out of powder, and things are getting dicey, and it's looking like they're all going to be scalped out. Well, the Quanah decided to hold a meeting out there, a big meeting with everybody on what to do. Well, anybody who's ever like did knows what a quail shoot is. Quails have a tendency to bunch up into a big group, and you can just shoot for the center and figure you're going to kill several. That's kind of the opportunity that was presented to these guys. And Bat Masterson was there as well, just so you know.
Bat Masterson.
He was in the group of the 28 guys, yeah. But out of the 28 dudes, they said, hey.
He was an affable man.
Well, it depends on who you were. If you were a criminal, you might get blown away.
But you remember from the movie? He's very affable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's affable.
Yeah.
He's a very affable man.
Yeah.
And I had to look that shit up. I was like, what is affable?
Yeah, it means easygoing.
Yeah.
I think that's true if you were like a regular person, but I think if you're a dirtbag, you're gonna get blown away.
Right.
So he's there. He's at this buffalo hunt, and apparently the group decided, hey, Billy's gonna take this shot. Now back then, they obviously didn't have laser rangefinders, but they had developed this technique where you put your thumb. Let me put a different thumb out.
Yeah, what'd you do to your thumb?
I was cutting some kindling, got a little careless, and I got a little flapper there that had to be glued back down. So they would sit there.
The thumb trick.
Yeah, and they would subtend, just like you would subtend your reticle.
Mm-hmm.
Like you use Mills or MOA to range a target.
Yeah.
They'd use their thumb and they'd put it on a buffalo, and depending on what the length was,
how far was he away?
They'd figure how far he was away, and they had these really beautiful aperture sights that had the clicks, and these rifles and the powders, like we don't even have it anymore. Like they had better shit than we do. Like muzzleloaders now, either by the Pirate X or whatever. It's shit compared to what, because you got to remember back then this was the best technology, so it was all better.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys were super accurate. So anyway, Billy, he does his figuring. He puts his dope on, and remember, he's shooting at a big herd out there, okay? And he just figures, I'll just aim for center, I'll hit something, right? And of course he does. He dumps one right off his horse, and everybody bails, and that ends the fight. They figure, hey, anybody who can do that has got magic, and that's the end. And they leave, and the siege is ended. Later,
Big medicine.
big medicine, yeah, the superstition, right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we can't deal with this. This guy can blow somebody away. Later, like I said, the Corps of Engineers came out and measured it. It was like 1,547 yards.
Come on.
Nah,
Come on.
Look it up. Corps of Engineers measured it. I mean, they knew where the dead guy was. They knew where Billy was. It's 15 plus. But like I said, he was not arrogant saying him. He just said, hey, I put the best dope I could on.
I just sent it.
And put in the center of the group.
Right.
Figuring, and that makes sense to me, right?
It wasn't like he picked that dude out and said, no. He just sent it into the group.
He just said, hey, the group, probably subtended so much. He put his dope on. He put it in the center, figuring I'll be off some. But they're so tightly packed having that
I'm going to hit something.
I'm going to hit something. And he did. Now, later, there used to be a magazine called Precision Rifle Magazine. And there was a guy named M.L. McPherson who was a common editor for that magazine, a writer. He replicated that shot with the same gun, and he built a papier-mâché Indian and a horse and put it at the right distance, the 1547, and he launched 50 shots. He hit the Indian and the horse like 12 times.
Out of 50?
Out of 50, just on one. And then he showed the impacts, right? He marked each impact because he found a steep wall to do it on. And you can see that if that was the center of a large group of Braves, every shot would have hit something.
Right. He just happened to take one.
He had probably like a 12-foot group, I would say, give or take a few feet.
Yeah.
And so you could see after he did that replicate, if you aim for the center of a group of hundreds of Braves, your first shot's gonna hit somebody.
Oh yeah. As long as your dope's accurate.
Yeah. And so Billy Dixon.
That's a big fucking wad of lead.
Yeah, I think they were using 58 caliber bullets or something.
And how much does things weigh? Probably like 500 grains.
500, minimum. Like 530 grains or something like that. Yeah.
Man, no, thank you.
And
I'm all set.
I think they launched them at about 1,400 from the muzzle.
It's like a fucking little mini cannonball.
Yeah. And so time it got out there, it might have probably been going 500, 600 feet per second.
Big ass.
But it weighs 500 plus grains. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. And you're going to die. You're going to die from infection, lead poisoning.
Well, reportedly the guy never moved again. They came and drug him back. So he dumped off his horse. Everyone scattered. And then, I don't know, like an hour or two later, a couple of them came back and got him, got the dude, and packed off.
Maybe we should go get that dude.
Yeah, they went and got him.
Yeah.
And the guys never left their protection, of course, because they didn't know what was up.
Yeah, kill one, terrorize 1,000.
And then eventually they realized, hey, they've left, and they were able to extricate themselves from the scenario they were in. And that was I think, after the Civil War. We should talk about the Civil War a little bit, because there was one guy during the Civil War that was super, super impressive. He was an old guy. He wasn't a military age male. He was like past it, and he had a farm, and he had 4 boys. 2 of them were of age when the war started, and they both joined the Confederacy. The other 2 were underage and were obliged to stay home, which per our conversation earlier,
Probably not going to work out for very long.
we can see our young men want to go.
Mhm.
Right. So dad's fighting it. You guys ain't old enough to go. They want to go, but they're not old enough, this kind of thing. In the meantime, he's completely surrounded by the enemy, right? Who remember what this guy's name is? So Jack Hinson, like I
You got
said,
here Jack Henson. What is this? Is this on Wikipedia?
yeah. Jack Hinson's is a farmer. He's trying to mind his own business. He's cooperating with the invading army. What he's hoping to do is keep his head down and his mouth shut long enough, to get to ride this out. And it's understandable. He's got a family, he's got property, he's got wealth, and he's just hoping, hey, he doesn't put up any initial resistance to the North.
This is the Civil War.
Yeah. And like I said, 2 of his boys were old enough. They went and joined the Confederacy, which he couldn't stop. Just like you couldn't stop your kid today if he was 20 or something.
No, not happening.
He's going to do what he wants. But he's got 2 younger boys who want to go, but they're not old enough to go. And so and General Grant, the Union officer, knows Jack Hinson personally, and he's entertained General Grant at his property. And so it's almost kind of a cordial, it's not perfectly cordial, but as cordial as you can be in the circumstance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then people fuck up, as is, not unusual. Thanksgiving Day, the 2 boys want their dad's shotgun to go get a turkey for Thanksgiving. And that's allowed to happen. Jack Hinson owns a big property, lots of turkeys. It's Thanksgiving, they need a turkey. This is not an unusual thing to have happen. And the boys go out and get a turkey, but they are confronted by Union soldiers, a unit. And they're accused of being bushwhackers because bushwhacking was going on, right?
What was bushwhacking back then?
Any type of irregular warfare.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like
basically sniping,
sneaking around,
bushwhacking,
sniping, shooting dudes,
ambushing.
Sure.
And a lot of that was going down, right? So even though in this story the Union officer and soldiers involved are allegedly the bad guys, we can appreciate their point of view. Imagine leading a patrol. I mean, Caylen knows better than me. You're told to do, hey, lead a patrol. Okay, you lead a patrol. And every time you do, one of your guys gets blown away.
Yeah, yeah. No,
You're
that's
fucking
very real.
You're pissed.
Yeah.
So you're fucking pissed, right? Yeah. Now you've got no way to retaliate. You find these 2 subpar age males with a fucking gun.
Bad things gonna happen.
Right. So we're gonna blame these fuckers. They're part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The boys swear up and down they're just boys hunting a turkey. They actually have the turkey. They have a fucking shotgun. But the fucking Unions say, hey, fuck you. And they kill both boys. And on top of it, they behead both boys because they're pissed over their friends. And they drag the carcasses and the heads to the compound and dally them about and put the heads in the fence post on the gate leading into in front of Mom.
Probably not a good plan.
So now Jack Hinson has to deal with this. Mom is fucking she's probably not even in her right mind, right? I mean, imagine a mother.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
She's just gone, right? Jack Hinson's pissed. And from his perspective, he's been accommodating. He has served the commanding general. They're on friendly terms. And these cocksuckers just murdered his 2 younger boys who weren't even in the fucking war. Oh, he's fucking pissed. He takes it the hard way. And he's got means. So he requisitions a custom rifle. He immediately moves his family out. He burns his own place. so it's not available to the enemy. He moves his family out, and he goes on a one-man campaign of destruction. And he starts with the officers that killed his sons. He kills both of them. He knew their patterns. He posted up in the weeds. It was close, like maybe 120 yards. He killed both of them. Gone in the wind. And they chased him for the remainder of the war. And they never did catch him. And anybody who's interested should look it up. It's very fascinating. His rifle is still around. And when the war was over with, he was not even considered an enemy. He was considered a terrorist.
Mm.
So even after the war was completely over, the North wanted his ass because he was just out there straight murdering everybody. They wanted his ass. They never did. The population protected him.
It's like a Robin Hood.
Yeah, he lived the rest of his days. He died of old age. The people knew right where he was. They took care of him. They never gave him up. And he gave his rifle to General Forrest, Nathan Bedford Forrest, at the end. He notched it each time he killed somebody, and he gave it to General Forrest. Anybody who's a student of the Civil War will recognize General Forrest was a fucking super badass. Probably the most underutilized officer in the Civil War, right? He had so much talent that he could have been utilized much greater than he was. But, the South had problems, and they never utilized General Forrest to the degree they could have. He ended up with a rifle. He didn't care that much, so he gave it to an aide. Well, that aide, his great-great-grandson, has the rifle, and he's a judge, like in Tennessee right now. And he has the gun, and he goes on tour with it, and you can find it on YouTube where he presents the rifle. You can see it. He remembers as a little kid them shooting it out in the backyard with the grandparents, right? And that's Jack Hinson's rifle. That was and you can see it. It's like an inch and an eighth across the flats. So it's an octagon. So this barrel's like 2 inches around. It's probably 30 inches long, maybe more. And that was Jack Hinson. Now in the Civil War proper, both sides had sniper platoons. They called them sharpshooters back then. And if anybody's ever seen the movie Outlaw Josie Wales,
Oh yeah.
remember when he shoots the rope? Okay, that's what's called a Whitworth rifle. It had a funny rifling design. Instead of rifling like you see now, it had an octagon internal dimension, which was the rifling. And the bullet, what they did is they cut off, like when the gunsmith built the gun, it was built in England. They cut off like the last 6 inches of the barrel and made that the bullet mold. So the bullet was the exact same internal dimension as the barrel, and it was hexagonal. And it was a 45 caliber, about a 530 grain bullet, and it was called the Whitworth rifle. And it was at the Creedmoor over there. It could shoot a 20-inch, 20-shot group at 1,000 yards.
That's insane.
That's insane. That's accurate as hell.
That's insane for that time period.
Mm-hmm. That means in the hands of a skilled rifleman, you're in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Big time. Absolutely big time.
And not so much in the North, but on the South. My family's all from the South, so I have more interest in the South. In order to get that, those rifles were limited. So they'd only give them to what they considered the best riflemen.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to demonstrate that you were the best shot to get that gun. But it was a coveted position because if you got to become the sniper, you got out of picket duty, right? And picket duty is how you got killed, right? Because you're out on the picket where you're looking straight across from the enemy, right? Most of the time, the battles are what gets all the press. But think about the battles. I mean, they can't even represent 1% of the time frame.
Yeah, very, very limited amount of time.
Yeah. Almost all the time, guys are picketed, close to each other.
Manning the wire,
Yeah,
manning
yeah,
the lines,
yeah. And that's you're sitting out there like a dope,
having pot shots to
yeah,
hang.
at a picket, and some dumb son bitch shoots at you from the other side. That's where you got yourself killed. Well, these snipers didn't have to do that. They got once they got the Whitworth, they got free reign. They got out of picket duty. They got out of all
Just
duties.
go do the thing.
Yeah, they're just out there hunting constantly,
Yeah.
looking for high value targets, right? What were the high value targets? Well, they were wanting any cannoneer, they'd snipe that sumbitch because cannon was bad. So any cannoneer they could find, they'd kill. Any officer they'd find, they'd kill, right? Any dispatch rider they'd kill, right? That's who they were hunting. They didn't really, and there's so many other regular infantry, shooting one of them was almost worthless, right? They
Why
get
would I
give
compromise my
yeah,
position for that?
yeah, give away my position for that, they wouldn't do it, right? So
Mhm.
they're specifically hunting certain high value targets. However, if they were caught, they were not going to get any.
Bad news.
They're done. They're going to be killed.
Mhm.
They're going to be killed in the spot.
And probably not the kindest of
Yeah,
ways.
not a hang in,
Yeah.
not a guillotine. They're going to be hurt bad
Yeah.
because uh, they were considered treacherous. Uh, they were not.
But yet
Yeah,
influencing the battlefield on a tremendous level.
tremendous level. Imagine a scenario. You're dealing with a volley fire, right? So the guy who won an infantry battle back then was the guy who had the most discipline. You can get your guy to shoot, take fire, reload,
Reload, shoot
shoot,
again,
right?
and continue that in the face
Of fire,
of
yeah,
absolute chance.
yeah, yeah,
It's really
yeah,
chance,
yeah.
right?
Because everyone's shooting a musket, balls are winging all over the fucking place. No one's aiming at anything; they're just aiming at the other side. So if you can take out the other side's officer, you've won.
Mm-hmm.
Because now all discipline breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
That side will scatter. Those men, think about it, they don't want to be there shooting. It's stupid. The only reason they're there is because they fear their officer more than they fear the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
If their officer dumps, they got free reign to go, and that's how the snipers were effective. They would find positions, sneak into them, watch, identify who the officers were, and kill them. And that would cause the other side's discipline to break down. And that's how you win. That's how you win the fight,
And that
right?
even today, man, like even today in modern warfare, a disorganized and undisciplined force is cannon fodder.
Yeah,
It just all you have to do is wait until a target presents itself with enough opportunity to put a bullet into it, and you give me enough time and opportunity, I'm going to do that.
right.
And that's really where an undisciplined force loses. And we can see this in all the videos coming from the front in Ukraine.
Yeah,
It's really, really difficult to watch from the standpoint of having been in combat and understanding, the role that humanity plays in that. Like watching these videos of dudes of drones like chasing down other humans,
yeah,
playing cat and mouse with them. Um, that's essentially like snipers were waiting for the opportune time. We fight on our terms,
yeah,
right? We're going to send that shot when it's advantageous for us
right.
because security is our comfort zone. If I don't feel like I can release that shot and be safe doing it, I'm not going to release that shot. I'm going to take another means. Hopefully, if I have that means available
Yeah,
to me to utilize, like communications tools,
right.
radios calling for supporting arms, I'm going to utilize that first before
I
I
give myself
I
away.
compromise my
Yeah,
position. I have to weigh the outcome of compromising my position. And that's all based upon the
yeah,
permissibility of the environment you're in.
right,
If you're in a permissible environment, fucking roger that. Let's just send it.
right.
Let's just go for this. And I've had experiences in both where I don't want people to know where I am versus I don't care where
Right.
people know that I'm here because we're shooting at each other. It's not a big deal.
Right.
And there's a big time difference in how you approach that
Right.
from a tactics standpoint.
Yeah.
So like these guys were the pioneers of what we know today as riflemen. They're the pioneers, they're the hunters. And that's really what you are as a sniper. You're a hunter.
Yeah.
And you have to have that, like you've got to have that archetype inside of you.
That's why I take it all the way back to Lewis Wetzel, even though he had a musket. And one of his tricks was his dad had taught him how to reload while running away. You can't do that with a rifle. You got to have a musket, right?
Why? Explain that. Tell me
Because
why.
the way rifling works is the bullet's tight in the barrel, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to. It takes some force to get it down. A musket, that thing's some, but you can just shove it down, so you can do it while running. So his dad, and when we get into Lewis Wetzel, we'll talk what happened. It was tragic. His dad was killed. His brother was killed.
Well, don't fuck it up, man. Come on now.
But his dad taught him before he got killed how to load while running. So once Wetzel became a killer, a hunter of, I guess back then would be Bowman. It would be HOB and HOG because they had both, right? It was like hob and hog, right? But
Fantastic.
But that's what he became. He was like, he dedicated the rest of his life to saying, you fuckers killed my family, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life killing you for what you've done in the service of my community. And one of the tricks he would use is the Indians learned that, hey, once a guy shoots, he's done. If I'm close enough, I can just charge him with a tomahawk.
Right. I'll overpower him because my weapon's quicker. It's faster.
Yeah, he won't.
More wheel.
He won't be able to reload in time from on him.
He's gonna try to parry me, and I'm gonna parry his right with my hand. I'm gonna cave his skull in with my axe.
Exactly.
Right.
So what this guy learned how to do was to reload while running. So they'd be chasing him, thinking he's done, and he'd turn around and shoot him. And they're like, "Fuck, we didn't.
This isn't gonna work.
We didn't expect that." And then he'd do it again, and again and again, and that's one of the reasons he got named Death Wind, because he could run like a wind, and he'd fucking kill you. And so they learned, hey, don't chase that fucker. You're gonna die. And they're scared of him, right? And like you guys know, at least 50% of your benefit is the fear.
It's absolutely the fear. You know, a buddy of mine, his name is Mick Skinta, and there's a story of him coming into a platoon, and they were putting their suppressors on their M40A5s.
Yeah,
because the M40A3 didn't have a suppressor, the A5
right.
got the suppressor, and the story is that and Mick's going to hear this. I'm sure he's going to hear this. And he'll be on the podcast because he's
he can verify.
Super influential member of the community.
Yeah, he can verify.
But he pulled the cans off and basically said, "Hey, you know, the single report of this rifle is what is known to paralyze a battlefield."
Yeah. People say, "Fuck this."
Exactly, and so that's what we also experienced fighting in Fallujah when the sheikhs did finally come to the table, and they were like, "Hey, whatever you do, the first thing that we want you to turn off is the snipers."
Right.
Because they're inflicting a tremendous amount of damage on us.
Right.
And
they're the ones that kill. It's been that way that's another thing that should be brought out in this series. Snipers are the ones that kill. The infantry shoots loads of ammo that never kills anything.
Mm-hmm.
Snipers shoot almost all their bullets kill somebody.
There's a book out there. I don't know if you've read it. It's called On Combat. It's by he's a retired.
I don't think so. Yeah,
it's the psychology of killing. It's the psychology of combat. It's called On Combat, or I'm sorry. I think it was. I might be getting this backwards, and audience, forgive me if I get this backwards. The first one was on killing,
Yeah.
and it was a study of how the human psyche processes taking life.
Yeah. And
And
that's a struggle you guys have to deal with because you can't get out of it.
the psychological influence, as well as he studied everything from the amount of rounds, the amount of cartridges expended,
Yeah.
to the amount of enemy casualties. And
Right.
he drew a balance. His name's Colonel Grossman, David Grossman. And then he came out with another book on combat. And on combat was the psychological evaluation of people that have experienced that aspect of warfare.
Yeah.
There was another one. There was another crazy video that came out from Ukraine. It was a Siberian Russian, and he had gotten into a hand-to-hand combat uh, battle with a Ukrainian. He prevailed, and it
Wow.
ended up going to a knife. And
Wow.
it was 7 minutes long.
Wow.
Super. It's
Yeah,
very
that's almost
difficult
worse. Yeah.
difficult to describe.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to watch it, and it's truly like the essence of man-to-man combat,
Yeah.
like from the days of the gladiators,
Yeah.
right? Going back all the way
That's
to
what I
the
was gonna say. In
Colosseum.
the old times, that was normal, huh?
Normal,
Everybody.
normal. That was the way the battlefield worked.
Yeah. It was hand to
It
hand.
wasn't bullets.
No.
It was blades,
Yeah.
projectile
The
weapons.
Roman legions,
Hmm.
the Spartans.
Yeah,
That
big
this
time.
this shit's hand to hand.
And so, like, these guys actually exchanged words. They, the
It's fucking intimate.
yeah, the guy who eventually succumbed to the fight, he
Yeah.
was basically saying, you got me. You were the best fighter. Just leave me alone. Let me die in peace.
Yeah. Wow.
Eh, And then they would later, 2 years later, they would find this Siberian Russian
Right.
and interview him, and he would come with a tremendous amount of
Respect, probably.
respect
Yeah.
and hubris, and saying, "Hey, man, I just happen to be the better man in
That
that
day.
particular
Yeah.
match, in that
Yeah.
particular engagement."
Yeah. It's so intimate. You have to be that. It's got to be that way.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, like, I don't
It's
wish that upon anyone.
yeah. It's fucking crazy. It's
It's
it's it's almost worse than what you guys do. I mean, at least the guy's away. I mean, you see him still and you kill him. It's bad. It's not as like a regular infantry guy just spraying bullets. He
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
really
shooting
know.
silhouettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
And then you guys are killing people directly. That's bad. But to be right up in the guy's guts and having to deal,
Yeah, I mean, the video is like, you can
fuck,
see him
man.
grabbing the knife and blood,
Yeah.
like he's literally grabbing the blade with his
Yeah.
hand. He's fighting for his life,
Yeah.
you know? And that's something that, like, I've never had to experience that
Right.
before.
Right.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell to,
It makes us respect our ancestors. That's how they lived.
and well, that, yeah, that's how they fought.
That's it. That's everybody had to do that, right?
Mhm.
There's some. If you go back to ancient history, there was a guy named Hannibal
Yeah.
who was a Carthaginian general who fucking wrecked Rome for 16 years. It's unbelievable. The death in one battle, 250,000 people fucking dead on one
Yeah. With
field. On one field.
swords, knives, and spears,
Hmm.
and or bludgeoning instruments, hammers, shields,
On in
helmets.
one battle. I think when we hit the beach in Normandy, we lost about 20 to 25,000 dudes. And that's bad. That's fucking super bad,
That's really bad.
right? And no one's taking anything away from from those guys. But the ancient battles made that look like mice nuts.
Yep. That's very true.
The numbers of people that died in one battle back in the old days is fucking stunning, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and you mentioned earlier, I call them the great captains. Hannibal was one, Alexander the Great, Caesar Augustus, Napoleon, Adolf Gustav of Sweden, right? There are certain guys in history that were so good at war that they're studied to this day at West Point, right? Xenophon. They think, xenophobia.
I know what
Well,
it means.
xenophobia. Well, let's ask ourselves, where did xenophobia actually come from? Actually,
What does it even mean?
what does it even mean? Actually, that's a good question. Well, Xenophon himself, the guy that it's named after, was a student of Socrates 2,500 years ago. And for those who don't know, Socrates himself was a vaunted soldier of Athens, decorated soldier, uh, many medals, unquestioned heroism. But he became a philosopher, and Xenophon became a student, right? So Xenophon gets an opportunity to go on a campaign to modern day Turkey. Back then they called it Lydia. It was part of Greece. It was part of Persia. Turkey didn't exist back then. And so as he's a mentee and Socrates is a mentor, so this is great. This is going to tie everything in. It's going to tie everything in.
It's gonna bring the room together.
Oh, big time. So here's the mentor-mentee relationship right now being played out 2,500 years ago. Xenophon respects his master, Socrates, perhaps the smartest man that's ever walked the earth, and who's decidedly on Caylen's side of the demarcation line of men who get shit done. Which is even more reason for Xenophon to have respect. This is not a politician. This guy says what he thinks. And he goes to Socrates and asks him, hey man, I got an opportunity to become a volunteer soldier to this operation. Cyrus the Great in Lydia. And as any veteran would, Socrates says, you don't want no part of that shit. You better stay the fuck out of there. You have no idea what you're setting yourself up for. It's a shit show at the highest level. So we can see nothing's changed in 2,500 years. It's all the same. And as per usual, the young men do not listen to the old men. And Xenophon goes anyway, right? Because like you said, he's got to seek adventure, right? Well, two dramatic things happen. In the intervening time, Socrates is accused of undermining the values of the youth, charged for treason and convicted to death. He could have got away. He would not go away. He said, if they've convicted me to death, let me take it. And he drank the fucking hemlock willingly. And anybody who wants to, and I encourage everybody, go read the Phaedo and the Apology by Plato. Plato, the philosopher. Socrates never wrote anything himself. Plato did it for him. Plato was also a student, just like Xenophon. They were peers. Xenophon and Plato were peers at the tutelage of Socrates, right? And Plato documented what happened. Phaedo, Apology. It's so phenomenal. It'll blow your mind how it played out. But in a gist, Socrates said, I will not escape the judgment placed on me by my peers. Let them pass it on me, and we'll see who comes out.
Mm.
And we already know who came out.
Mm-hmm.
We don't remember any of them. We remember him, right?
Right.
In the meantime, Xenophon, as a young badass, is out in Jerkwater, Turkey, fighting for his life. Because the whole thing, Cyrus was killed immediately. It became a shit show. And now the Greeks are surrounded by the enemy thousands of miles away from home. And because of the Greeks' penchant for democracy, there was a treason that happened at the beginning of the failure, where the enemy betrayed the Greeks and killed all the generals, all the professional officers. So as a result, the Greeks had a democratic election, and they elected Xenophon as one of the officers, even though he's a kid. And you can see this happen in real life, right? Just what we talked earlier, qualifications don't mean fuck all, right? Apparently, he'd earned the trust of enough of the men to earn a spot, and he became an officer. And to this day, they teach his rearguard action at West Point. Think of that. They teach Xenophon's rearguard action at West Point right fucking now. That's how fucking smart he was. Because you can't extricate yourself from a shit show without fighting. If you retreat, you're going to be slaughtered. You got to have discipline on the retreat, right? You got to have a fighting retreat. Now think about it. He's out in the middle of jerkwater Turkey. He's got to make it back to fucking Greece. That's a shit show.
That's a super shit show.
Super shit show.
There's a lot of terrain, a lot of water.
Huge terrain, like 18,000 feet mountains and shit.
Huge terrain.
And he makes it, and he develops this technique of a fighting retreat, where even though they're retreating, they're fighting constantly. And it takes him years. And he makes it over the mountains of northern Turkey onto the shores of the Black Sea. From there, he makes it down to the coast, to the Helen spot. He crosses it into Greece. And he's a big fucking hero, right? But remember, there's no email or anything like that back then. He gets there, and they tell him, "Hey, we've executed Socrates." He goes, "What? You fuckers have executed Socrates?" And they go, "Yeah." And he was so, they wanted to make him a hero, right? Because he's just done this. He said, "You cocksuckers are so degenerate, so fucked up." And this is where xenophobia comes from. He says, "You've allowed foreigners to corrupt our culture so fucking bad that you can't let a man speak his mind in our democracy. And so I rescind my fucking Athenian citizenship. Fuck you." And he joined Sparta. And he put his boys through the Agoge. And and the only reason we know about the Agoge is because he wrote about it. You know, the whole movie Sparta? Mm-hmm. It's all based off Xenophon.
So my son, he sends me a message. He goes, "Hey, I'm learning about Greek mythology," and he's talking about Sparta and the Agoge or the Agoge.
Yeah,
whoever you.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I was like, "Hey, man, you need to read The Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield."
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Like, that's mandatory reading.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, if I was still in a leadership position, I would have everybody read The Gates of Fire from Stephen Pressfield.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal book, and it talks about everything. It's one of the most historically accurate fiction depictions of how things were in Sparta at that point in time, right? And so he downloaded it, and he was like, "I'm going to start listening to it tomorrow, Dad. Like, I'm going to start reading it." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like I said, I have personally read the book from cover to cover 5 times.
It's like the ultimate masculinity ever in the world.
And it's not like it's masculinity from the standpoint of
and interestingly,
it's warrior culture.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before, myself and other guys that are kind of in my peer group.
Yeah.
Warrior culture does not exist anymore.
Yeah, no, it's gone.
It's very, very, it's small.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the reason why I believe that we have so many problems.
Absolutely.
That we do, is that warrior culture is kind of, It's
I've never
missing.
heard anything more true than that.
It's missing.
It's absolutely true. All of our problems, almost like 99% of them, are because of a lack of masculinity.
Well, it's understanding that like you have the baseline, which you talked about at the beginning of this discussion, was all these young men have the desire to go pursue this path.
Right.
Like it's in you.
And you
It's
got to
it's a
give them that.
you got to give them that
You
out,
got to give them it.
because if they don't, that energy is gonna get put onto something else. It's gonna
It's going
get
to
put.
become negative.
It's gonna become toxic,
Yep.
and that toxicity is what we don't want. That
Right.
toxicity is outside the realms of power versus force,
Right.
and that's force. Using that
Yeah.
energy is in force. It's
Yeah.
not in power. It's in
Yeah.
force.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're gonna get slapped. Pow! It's
And
gonna fucking hit you.
it seems super obvious to me that that's true, but clearly the powers that be are not afraid of it,
No. Mm-mm.
and they think that they can just keep doing what they're doing, and it's very dangerous. You can fuck around. I guess that's what the FOFO means. You can fuck around and find out if you want, but why would you want to do that to yourself when, like I said, what's good doesn't have to be perfect. We don't got to be perfect to be good. We don't got to push these young men into this. Let's continue. Let's allow them to. And again, if it happens, it's our fault. We did it. We said, "Hey, fuck you, young men. You don't get to progress. We're not going to allow you to have an adventure. We're not going to allow you to have a mate. We're not going to allow you to." And then and then now we're surprised that the young men say, "Hey, fuck you."
Right.
Hey, who's the dumb one here?
Yeah. 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 And that's the reason modern day sniper exists. That's really what it is. I'm so from the history standpoint, who's the first dude so we talked about two dudes tonight. We talked about George Washington, and we talked about the individual that came about to support his efforts on the battlefield.
Yeah, Dan Morgan.
Daniel Morgan. Who are we going to talk about for the next episode?
Well, I think we should either start with, we could bypass Lewis Wetzel because he wasn't really in the military, but he was
Nah,
but he
if
was
he's
a
influential, we gotta do
but
it.
he was a hunter of gunmen, as it were, and he was critical to it's before the revolution. This is when we're still a British colony, but what we've got is a wilderness filled with enemy combatants. And as we're spreading, we're literally going out into the woods, cutting down a bunch of trees, building a stockade, putting like 3 families inside of it and trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that works is if Lewis Wetzel's out there hunting.
Protecting those people.
Yep, he's out there hunting, saying, "Hey, you want to come and scalp women and children? I'll be on your trail, and I will find you, and I will kill you." Right, as the movie line goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's Lewis Wetzel. And me and you talked on the other day on the phone. There's this, and it's even happening now. It's like this, like you said, it's an archetype. The guy you need to create a scenario where you can exist, you may not like that guy. You may not agree with that guy. You may even vote against that guy, like in today's politics, or you might get on social media and criticize that guy. What I wish sometimes is that the population would realize, some fundamental realities. Our Western civilization is based on hard men creating a space where you can exist, where you can even exist. You want to argue the merits of this? Okay. But guess what? If there's not a hard man creating a space for you to do that, You don't get to do that. Some other hard man says, fuck you. You're a slave or you're dead. Right? That's reality. And I see in our society a tremendous lack of appreciation for the hard men that created this space for us to have these silly arguments about a man or a woman, or gay or straight, or right or left. Or to me, it's absurd. Again, absurd. It's absurd. The only reason you can have that argument is because hard men like Lewis Wetzel, which I guess I'm saying I favor we don't pass him. He deserves his honor, right? He paid the price for us. Think about being out in the wilderness by yourself. No one. You got a fucking muzzle loader. That's what you have. You got a muzzle loader and a knife. You're completely surrounded by the enemy. Nobody gives a shit. In fact, after you're successful, they're probably going to criticize you. And to me, that's the sniper. That's what happens to you guys. You have to do what needs to happen, but the population's like, hey, that's how. If it's not the way they want it, oh well, fuck. We can criticize this, or we can criticize that. Hey, shut the fuck up. You guys enjoy the most luxury, the most freedom that's ever been experienced by anybody in the world, ever. Period. Ever. Where's the appreciation for that? There is no appreciation for that. You just want more. You just keep taking more and more, and any guy that pays the price to create that environment for you, you criticize the fuck out of that guy. I think I every now and then I'd like someone to come out and slap the fuck out of them and say, "Hey, shut the fuck up." You enjoy tremendous liberty, and you've not earned any of it. You haven't earned a goddamn cent of it. Show some fucking appreciation for the guys that put a scenario in place for you to do that, right? So as far as I'm concerned, we should start with Lewis Wetzel.
Lewis Wetzel.
Lewis Wetzel, aka Death Wind, is what the Indians named him.
All right, man. Well, that'll be our first. This was Nate Humbard. This is Nate Humbard, and Lewis Wetzel will be our first topic of discussion in one of the first modern day sniper history of sniping.
He
podcasts.
was an HOB and an HOG, both.
HOB. What's HOB?
Hunter of Bowmen.
Hunter of Bowmen, and
Hunter of Gunmen.
Hunter of Gunmen, a hog.
And it wasn't invented yet, but that's what he was. He was out there by himself, no one protecting him.
Alone and unafraid.
Alone and unafraid. He had a little single-shot musket. Here's some interesting, just before we get to him. He grew his hair down to his ass, and people would ask him, "Hey, why do you have such a huge mane?" He's like, "Hey, I've taken so many scalps. I figure they're after mine, and if they ever get it, that I want them to have a good one."
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I see that. I mean, no matter how you look at it, that's badass.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremiah Johnson, right?
Yeah.
That's your top knot.
Yeah. My parents all fucked up and let me watch Jeremiah Johnson when I was a kid.
I know, right?
And I never recovered from it. Ruined for life. Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist.
Well, the world I grew up in, I could go out the back door and shoot, ground squirrels, rock chucks, jackrabbits. And so I don't know, for about 3-4 years there, I could live like Jeremiah Johnson. I was forever dragging something back and cooking in the backyard.
Cursed by mom.
Yeah. Forever dragging something back. And she was like, yeah, my mom got traumatized because I was like, hey, let's cook this. And she did. God bless her.
Hmm. Well, we're going to have a good time with this series.
I hope so, yeah.
We're going to have a lot of good conversations. I think that, we're going here for 2 hours and about to be 20 minutes. And
Well, you'll have to edit the fuck out of this to get rid of all my nonsense.
nonsensical nonsense. No, man, I don't think that we're going to edit any of it out.
Just fucking send it.
It's just raw. It's just raw. That's the way it should be.
What's the guy in Canada who's always saying send it?
Well, the guy in Canada that's saying send it.
Yeah, he's like a snowmobile guy. He's like,
Oh,
fuck it.
it's the guy. It's the 80s dude.
Yeah.
It's the
He's got
guy
the
who
fucking mullet.
he's got the mullet and he's got the fucking glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, fucking send it.
Send it, and he like launches off these jumps and like has huge wrecks, and how he lives, no one knows.
Have I introduced you to Letterkenny yet?
No.
Oh my God, you're fucked. I'm gonna explode your world. We're gonna go talk about Letterkenny. Letterkenny is a Canadian comedy series that was based out of like central Ontario, which was kind of sort of the way that I grew up out of New York.
Well, yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
It's like we were literally right
Yeah,
across
yeah.
the river from one another.
Yeah.
It's hysterical. It's fantastic. But it's Canadian comedy, so it's a little different. But yeah, we're gonna have some good episodes, Nate.
All right.
Good
man.
episodes. So the next episode that we have, we're gonna dive into another a sniper, and we're gonna talk about where this individual came from, what he did, how he was influential, and give this individual homage. And that's really what
Right.
we want to do with this whole
Right.
series.
We want to pay our respects to the guys who came before us, who paved the way for our civilization, and earned the right for a little respect.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Fair enough. So, well, thanks, dude. And we will see you again next time.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
Right on.
Right on.
Well, that was fun. That was a good time.
Yeah,
Right
it
on.
was.